This news update is brought to you by...
So, I'm meeting Rico later. Gotta check in with the girls, but first, let me check my usage on the MyLime app. Now, what should I wear? Hashtag sexy. He's here.
Welcome to the Barbados Today Afternoon Update. It's Tuesday, March 3rd, 2015. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Thanks for joining us. As the police investigation continues into last weekend's disappearance of 49-year-old Karen Harris, the focus shifted today away from the plight of the St. George woman, who is now back home safe and sound. Of serious concern is a report by one St. George worker who claims he was pursued by 3 white men who were part of Harris's search party into a cane field. Last Friday's incident has left Buttals Plantation watchman David Sam very shaken. In fact, he tells Barbados Today he feared for his life.
So I was inside the hut. And I see the light coming down. And when the light coming down, they spot the light in the hut. So I get scared because I did not know what happened. They tell me hold. So I did got my bicycle, I couldn't do nothing, I had to stop. You know? So before they explain and tell me what happened, right? They telling me who I working with. My man, who you working with? You know? I tell them I working with what? Who you? I tell them. You know? So I say, they tell me, you had a number from Mr. Ward? I say, yes. They got me the hold up so long and things. So I say to myself, but why they holding me up so far? But they didn't tell me about this woman. So when now they told me about the woman now, I say, oh, that is why they hold me up so long.
There must be fair treatment for all. That's the contention of outspoken Pan-Africanist and president of the Clement Payne movement, David Comissiong, following last weekend's massive search by authorities and an estimated 500 civilians for Harris. Mr. Comissiong says the situation reveals there are still 2 Barbadoses and that the island is clearly divided along racial lines. He says despite assurances from police, ordinary working-class black Barbadians are not treated fairly, and he says it's high time there's a strong lobby for change.
It's regrettable that almost 50 years into our independence, we still are forced to make the case in Barbados that black lives should matter and do matter. And I would say, let this be a wake-up call. I'm glad that it has evoked the kind of national response that it has. Let it be a wake-up call. Let us insist from here onwards that there will no longer be 2 sets of responses where a person is reported missing. One type of response where the person is Caucasian and of middle or upper class status, and another response where the person is African and of working class status.
In other news, Education Minister Ronald Jones is calling on principals across the island to get better acquainted with the country's laws to avoid landing in trouble. And he's signaled out retired Principal Matthew Farley as a prime example of someone who was well versed in the law when it came to handling matters pertaining to the education system.
Matthew knew the laws, huh? That's one thing, fella. He knew the laws. He knew how far he can go without toppling over. And all young principals who move into the system, Ms. Bancroft, congratulations on the principle of Great and Sealy, is to know the law. You don't run yourself into trouble. You can defend yourself based upon the law. I mean, there's always open to interpretation, but the law stands as the law. When there was issues, we always were able to discuss them and resolve them amicably.
Disaster officials are on a quest to ensure that Barbados is earthquake and tsunami ready. Interim Director of the Caribbean Tsunami Center, Alison Broom, says her agency is embarking on a tsunami recognition program where signs will be erected around the island to educate residents. She says the center is also trying to set up an emergency managers information network, which will allow the Met Office to receive and relay information quickly.
In addition, we are embarking on proposals to actually enhance public awareness and education materials, as well as educational materials primarily for secondary and primary schools. And in this lens of it, we hope not to provide a large amount of printed materials, but we're looking through the development of our website to be able to have apps available for children to make it as interactive as possible and obviously as interesting as possible for them.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
In sports, the West Indies chairman of selectors, Clive Lloyd, is confident that the regional side has what it takes to beat reigning world champions India when the two meet on Friday. As it now stands, India are unbeaten with 3 outings in the ICC Cricket World Cup, while the West Indies have lost 2 of their 4 games. Both teams will be aiming for that crucial victory, especially with a place in the next round looming. However, Lloyd argues that one-day cricket is about who plays well on the day and gets their disciplines right. He believes if the regional team plays that way, then India will get a good run for their money. To news from the region, law enforcement officers in St. Lucia say there have been no murders recorded in the country so far for the year, a feat it accomplished some 15 years ago. However, the findings of a report on the extrajudicial killings is casting a shadow over the good news, as the police public relations officer denies reports that the country's top cop has been sent on leave pending its release.
As usual, every year the commissioner takes some time off, which is definitely what most police officers do. And he being the police officer, top cop, he has decided to take some leave, some much needed leave. After all, we just had independence, and as you know, as the year is coming, we'll be having lots more activities like jazz and carnival. So it's just normal for the commissioner to take leave around this time.
And finally, on the international scene, thousands of Russians bade farewell to murdered Russian opposition politician Boris Nemtsov as his funeral took place in the capital, Moscow. They queued patiently to view his coffin before it began its solemn journey to a city cemetery where he was laid to rest. He was shot dead on a bridge near the Kremlin wall on Friday night. The BBC's Sarah Rainsford reports from Moscow.
They queued right around the park and up into the street. Thousands braving the freezing Moscow cold to bid farewell to Boris Nemtsov, still shocked by his brutal murder. Rafik tells me he was a patriot and a hero. He wanted Russia to live better and fought for the truth, Rafik says. And look what happened.
That's our Barbados Today afternoon update, but we will be back again this evening. Until then, remember to log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper email updates, or like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Also tune in to Channel 101 online TV, as well as Mix 96.9 FM to get all the latest news and sports. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Have a wonderful day.
This news update is brought to you by...
So, I'm meeting Rico later. Gotta check in with the girls, but first, let me check my usage on the MyLime app. Now, what should I wear? #sexy.